What if everything you believed was a lie? Let's recap everything from Silo Season 2. The story continues with a shift to the past, where a boy named Tim runs through the dark halls of the Down Deep carrying a torch. On a wall, graffiti over a propaganda screen reads, "Liars and Truth." Tim reaches a group of adults and warns them engineering says the generator will flood in 15 minutes. With no time left, rebels attack the silo's leadership on the upper levels. Many civilians die in the chaos, but the rebels force the guards to surrender. The survivors, including Tim, leave the silo holding a green flag. The story shifts back to Juliet traveling between silos. She passes the same green flag and thousands of skeletons, the remains of people killed by the toxic air when they tried to escape. Inside the quiet, dark, abandoned silo, Juliet's oxygen runs low. Unable to take off her helmet, she breaks the visor with a crowbar. She hears a distant metal clanging sound and follows it into the dark. She finds a large gap in the walkway. Seeing a body hanging from a rope, she pulls it up and tries to swing across. The rope breaks and she falls into deep water from a flooded generator. She climbs out and keeps moving. Juliet remembers her early days in mechanical. Martha recalls surviving pneumonia alone, while Shirley remembers finding her way home after being left behind. In the present, Juliet builds a pulley system and places a metal beam across the gap. The beam breaks as she crosses, forcing her to jump to safety. She reaches the offices and homes. The clanging sound was just an ID badge hitting a running desk fan. Suddenly, she hears the song Moon River behind a large vault door. She cannot open it, but as she turns away, a voice speaks. A slot opens to reveal a man with different colored eyes. He warns her that he will kill her if she tries to enter, then closes the slot. Meanwhile, Bernard sees video from Juliet's helmet and realizes she survived. Before the signal cuts out, he checks a secret book called The Order and finds a scary rule. In the event of a failed cleaning, prepare for war. Alarms ring everywhere. Sims takes control of security and sets a strict curfew. Juliet's survival causes anger. Residents demand answers, and Shirley suspects a cover-up. Hank tries to calm the crowd, but Martha sprays them with a water hose, warning that protests will make them targets. Later, Martha wants to grieve, believing Juliet is dead, but Shirley insists they must fight for the truth. Hank arrests Martha. In the cells, Martha finds her ex-wife, Carla. The bosses realize Juliet survived because her suit used good mechanical tape instead of bad standard tape. Carla tries to take the blame, but Martha stands by her. Elsewhere, acting Sheriff Billings moves into Juliet's office. Sims tells him to write a standard report, but Billings becomes suspicious of the official story. Bernard asks Judge Meadows to stand by him during a public speech, offering her anything in return. She agrees, but only if he helps her leave the silo safely later. During his speech, Bernard lies and says the silo gave Juliet experimental tape as a hopeful test. The crowd cheers. Shirley does not believe him and starts a secret resistance group. Martha joins after seeing Juliet lives written on the walls, realizing Juliet's story is inspiring the people. Back in Silo 17, the man inside the vault asks Juliet her name and compares it to Romeo and Juliet. He reveals there are 50 silos and introduces himself as Solo. Solo explains that a past resident named Ron wrote lies on the camera lens and refused to clean. People thought Ron survived because they never saw him die, so they all ran outside and perished. Solo was locked in the vault by an IT boss named Russell during the chaos. Juliet realizes her own silo might make the same mistake. She starts gathering tools to build a new suit. In Silo 18, a boy named Teddy is arrested for writing Juliet lives. His mother is proud, but Shirley warns that leadership will punish someone from mechanical to scare the rest. Upstairs, Bernard shows Meadows the server room. He notes that cameras below level 120 are turned off. He claims Juliet destroyed secret data, but Meadows suspects he is lying. He mentions Juliet is in Silo 17, but doubts she will live. Juliet finds old graffiti in Silo 17 that reads, "Ron lives and we want to go out." Sims orders memory-erasing drugs for people who saw Juliet's video. Patrick and Danny are arrested. Patrick agrees to take the drug to forget 25 years of grief over his late wife. Billings visits Meadows with conflicting files and concludes Juliet never wanted to leave. Later, Meadows watches old pre-Silo videos. Shirley's group protests outside the station. Patrick throws a firebomb, setting the building on fire. A sniper hired by Sims shoots at Patrick, but the bullet kills both Patrick and a young worker named Cooper. Cooper dies in Shirley's arms. Hank calls Billings to report that war is starting. Later, Knox comforts Shirley and reminds her of a hidden wall of names they found as children, proving the bosses hide the past. Bernard measures Meadows for a protective suit and frees Teddy as promised. Meadows realizes Bernard is using the order to crush Mechanical and tells him to leave her alone until her suit is ready. In Silo 17, Juliet decides to swim through a flooded area to reach level 23. Solo finally leaves his vault to follow her but panics at a bridge. Juliet comforts him, and he realizes she is real. They sit together. Solo is excited to have a friend. He talks about the past while Juliet builds a diving rig. During her first dive, Juliet gets stuck in a tight pipe and almost drowns, but escapes. Solo panics and locks himself away again, but quickly reopens the door. Juliet tells him she understands his fear, and their trust grows. In Silo 18, Knox and Shirley inspect the Wall of Names, believing they mark past rebellions. Knox asks for a meeting with Meadows. Meadows agrees, which makes Sims nervous. Knox, Shirley, Martha, and Carla travel upstairs. Deputies escort them due to the high tension. Meanwhile, Billings investigates the firebombing and suspects a setup. A young man named Lucas Kyle meets Meadows. They bond over the stars, and she shortens his prison sentence. Outside, protesters demand that Meadows step down. Meadows confronts Bernard. He claims innocence but insists they must control Mechanical. He invites her to dinner. During the meal, Bernard poisons Meadows to follow the order. Before she dies, she reveals Juliet's hard drive had a secret message from Salvador Quinn. Bernard shows her a virtual reality image of Green Nature as she dies. The Mechanical group arrives at the office but finds Meadows dead. They realize they are framed. Bernard lets them run so Sims can brand them as murderers and turn the public against them. The group goes on the run. Carla finds a hidden escape rig, but greedy porters betray them for prize money. With guards closing in, Carla tells the others to split up. Martha wants to stay, but Carla insists Mechanical needs its leaders. They share a final kiss in separate. Sims and his wife Camille discuss the cover-up. Bernard visits them, demotes Sims for his failures, but then appoints him as the new judge. Billings and Hank track the fugitives. Hank thinks they are innocent. Billings reveals he has a forbidden medical condition. They find an injured Patrick, who agrees to tell the truth after Billings shows him a poster from Juliet's room. Elsewhere, Dr. Nichols, Juliet's father, helps injured people alongside Billings' wife. Guards bring Nichols to Bernard, who returns Juliet's old badge. Nichols takes it, showing Bernard that he is no longer afraid of him. Meanwhile, an angry crowd corners Shirley and Knox. Before violence breaks out, Camille steps in, pretends to arrest them, and hides them in a closet. She warns them about a guard barricade on level 130, but does not say why she is helping. After resting, Knox and Shirley trick the new security chief. They steal a heavy climbing rig, hook it to the stairs, and drop straight down the center of the silo shaft. The cable carries them safely past the guard barricade into the down deep, where friendly residents pull them to safety. Bernard brings Lucas back from the mines and orders him to fix Juliet's broken hard drive. Bernard admits he destroyed it, but needs the coded message left by Salvador Quinn. Lucas agrees to help. In Silo 17, Juliet and Solo argue again. Solo says the flooded generator will reach IT in 10 months and wants her to fix the pump. Juliet refuses, saying saving the 10,000 people in her own silo matters more. Still, Solo helps her and brings food when a bad arm infection makes her weak. While exploring, Juliet finds a note about a stolen helmet, which is the final piece for her new suit. Following the clue, she enters Trina's apartment and finds a photo of Trina with her boyfriend, who is Solo, but he looks nothing like the man she knows. When Solo returns, Juliet confronts him. He gets angry, shouts that he is the real IT Shadow, and a frightened Juliet runs away. She later finds the missing helmet, but her infection grows worse. Weak and feverish, she collapses unconscious on the floor. Down deep residents gathered at the level 130 barricade. Raiders stand on the other side. The people shout, "Let them through," because Bernard stopped all supplies after Shirley and Knox escaped. From his control room, Bernard says that missing just a few meals will break society. Inside Mechanical, Knox and Shirley discover their food has been poisoned. Panic spreads, but Martha steps in. She tells the crowd this is exactly what Bernard wants, and that leadership only offers empty promises. Her speech calms the crowd. Teddy then arrives with fresh food from level 122 farmers, containing a note that says Juliet lives. This gives them hope. Shirley, Knox, and Teddy plan to move the barricade upward. One group digs through the floor while Knox distracts the raiders. Mechanical's plan succeeds. They break through the floor, remove the barricade, and push the raiders back to level 120. Mechanical gains control of 10 levels, including the farms. Knox and Shirley celebrate, but Billings interrupts. He tells Bernard he is investigating Meadows' death and suspects both Bernard and Sims. Despite this, Billings stays loyal to the silo's rules, but wants the truth. At home, Kathleen notices his medical condition is worsening because he has been without medicine. Meanwhile, Billings asks Kathleen to secretly send Dr. Nichols to treat the injured Patrick. Nichols removes the bullet successfully. Afterward, Patrick confesses to Billings that he helped spread Juliet's broadcast because of a deal with Sims. Later, Bernard confronts Camille about helping the rebels. She is left shaken. Martha refuses to confirm Knox and Shirley's story about Meadows' death unless Billings proves Carla is alive. Billings hopes clearing Carla's name can save her. Later, Nichols visits Martha and thanks her for saving Juliet with the good tape. Martha sadly admits she believes Juliet is dead and only wanted peace. In Silo 17, Juliet wakes up. Solo treated her with homemade antibiotics, but he refuses to return her suit unless she fixes the pump first. Juliet agrees, but remains suspicious. Bernard visits Meadows, body with guilt, claiming he did it to protect order. He then checks on Lucas. Realizing Lucas needs deeper access to decode Quinn's message, Bernard promotes him to Shadow and grants him entry to the Legacy, a hidden archive of records from the old world. Bernard explains the silo is 350 years old, but its true purpose is unknown, warning that the truth is dangerous. Meanwhile, Knox and Shirley spread signals demanding answers about Meadows' death and shut down the silo's power. Chaos spreads. Bernard tries to negotiate with Carla, but she refuses. Billings learns the food poisoning was meant to kill Knox and Shirley, so he decides to arrest them to protect them. Sims learns about Lucas's promotion and Camille's past rebel links. In Mechanical, Shirley learns that almost no one returns from isolation. The group discovers a girl named May was forced to poison the food because guards threatened her mother. Lucas decodes the message using numbers instead of letters, with 77 as the key clue. They need a 140-year-old book, identified by Bernard as The Wizard of Oz. Sims and Camille argue again. Sims accuses Camille of betrayal for helping Knox and Shirley escape, while Camille insists they must balance both sides to survive. In Silo 17, Juliet prepares for another dive. Solo warns her about pressure changes. The system fails, and Juliet nearly drowns but escapes to the surface. She emerges into flooded levels and sees blood everywhere. Solo is gone, but an axe lies nearby. Bernard decides to use Martha's love for Carla to force her to betray Mechanical. In The Down Deep, Shirley adds Cooper's name to the Rebel Memorial Wall and has breakfast with Billings. They agree that true justice is impossible while Bernard and Sims rule the silo. Lucas searches the late Judge Meadows' apartment. He realizes he needs Quinn's personal copy of the pact to decode a secret message. He visits Quinn's descendant, but Taryn refuses to give him the book because Quinn's rebel past ruined their family name. Lucas returns to Bernard, who reveals a dark secret. Quinn actually helped the leaders by letting rebels destroy records. Quinn put memory-erasing chemicals in the water to make people forget past uprisings, while blaming Mechanical for the chaos. Lucas goes back to the Terran, convinces them that Quinn was a hero, and gets the book. He decodes the first line. If you've gotten this far, you already know the game is rigged. However, Sims intercepts Lucas, warns him not to trust Bernard. In Mechanical, Martha begs the group to rescue Carla from isolation, but they choose to raid medical supply instead. Lured to level 90 by a fake message, Martha finds Bernard waiting. He forces her into a cruel deal. She must spy for him, or Carla will be tortured. Broken, Martha reveals the raid plan, leading to the arrest of Teddy and his team. To ensure her loyalty, Bernard shows her a video of Carla blindfolded and tied up, then orders Martha to reinstall the hidden cameras in her workshop. Later, Shirley tells a guilty Martha about the arrests. Shirley suspects a traitor, but never doubts Martha. Meanwhile, Juliet follows a blood trail. A voice tells her Solo is dead and warns her to leave. She refuses, and an arrow hits her chest. Wounded, she hides, treats herself, and moves forward with a shield and spear. Juliet fights a covered figure, pulls off its helmet, and sees a young man. Two more young survivors appear. They have been in the silo the whole time, watching her. They admit they sabotaged her earlier, but one of them, Rick, also gave her the container that saved her from drowning. She finds Solo, who is shot and badly hurt. Rick stops them from killing him because Solo knows the vault code. They force Solo to reveal it. A girl named Audrey gives Juliet limited time to open the vault before they execute him. Juliet realizes Solo is actually Jimmy, Russell's son, and was just a child during the tragedy. Jimmy explains his father gave him the vault, but invaders sealed them inside and killed his father. Inside the vault, Juliet finds supplies, books, and a survival suit. She chooses to stay and help Jimmy instead of escaping immediately. Meanwhile, Lucas learns there are 51 silos, and Bernard admits Juliet reached another one. Billings realizes he was used as a tool and decides to help the rebellion. Knox plans to use gunpowder, but accidentally speaks in front of a camera. Bernard hears everything, frames Mechanical for trying to destroy the vault, removes Billings, and turns the cafeteria into a prison. Lucas goes to Mechanical and tells Shirley he has proof Juliet is alive. Shirley and Lucas head down a tunnel, a voice warns them about a safeguard activation, and Lucas enters anyway. In Martha's workshop, Shirley, Knox, Pete, and Billings plan a final strike, hold the generator for 3 hours to force Bernard to tell the truth. Bernard orders a raid, and the raiders capture many rebels, including Lucas. Nicholas gives Juliet's watch to Hank to pass on a message to her, then triggers the explosives, destroying the stairs to trap the raiders below and free the prisoners above. Lucas reaches Bernard and shares Quinn's secrets. Shocked, Bernard realizes his control is collapsing, gives Sims the vault key and makes him Shadow. In Silo 17, Juliet and Jimmy reach old rooms. Jimmy learns about Safeguard, a system that releases poison gas through a pipe. Juliet gets a new suit, teaches the survivors trust, and says goodbye, promising to return. Back in Silo 18, chaos erupts. A broadcast suddenly shows Juliet on the screen, and the crowd cheers Juliet lives. Sims, Camille, and their son try to enter the safety vault, but it only allows Camille inside. Outside the silo, Juliet arrives at the exit. Bernard is already there in a suit with a gun, ready to leave. The door closes, Juliet rushes in, and Bernard is pulled inside just as flames ignite and the safeguard poison activates. The season ends with a flashback to Washington, D.C., where a congressman discusses a past radiological attack, leaving the true origin of the silos a mystery. If you want more recaps like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know what anime you want to see next.